Alright, what's going on guys? Gdoggcasey here, and welcome to a new type of video that I don't normally make, but I think I kind of want to start making a little bit more often. This is going to be just kind of like a first impressions video. It's not groundbreaking, you've probably seen them before, but it's new for me, so if I stumble over a few things, I apologize, but just, let me know in the comments how I can do better in the future. Now, to get into the focus of the video, I want to kind of show you guys this game that I discovered on Steam. It's called SOLASTA, Crown of the Magister. So this game is created or developed by a company called Tactical Adventures, whom I haven't heard of before this. And essentially, what this is a different take on the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set in video games. So you guys probably know that Baldur's Gate 3 has been announced and it's already in early access, and I might even do a video like this for that game because Dungeons & Dragons has been something I've been a big fan of for as long as I can. Well, no, that's too much. Not as long as I can remember. I actually kind of remember I was like maybe 15 or 16 when I first heard of it, and ever since then I've been like infatuated with it. But I was never able to put together like a long-term group to play with consistently. I've played a lot of different times, but it's never really panned out into like a huge thing. But I've always been really looking for well-made video games that use the Dungeons & Dragons system. And I think, there are definitely some that exist. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, the Icewind Dale series. There's Neverwinter Nights, which is okay, but some of these games are very old. In fact, most of them are very old. And the way they implement certain mechanics are, maybe questionable, maybe because of the limitations of their time and the software they had to work with. Also, a lot of them are running like old versions of D&D, like 2nd edition or 3rd edition, which was a little better. But this is literally 5th edition. And one thing I want to kind of say is that it looks like Wizards of the Coast, the developers of Dungeons & Dragons, have kind of realized that selling their license to specific game companies can result in some pretty interesting games. And, with Larian Studios making Baldur's Gate 3, you can kind of tell that, they know how to make good games. Divinity was a great game, and they have an established background. But with this company, Tactical Adventures, the fact that they're willing to sell the license to this company and trust them to make a good product, it really has my hopes up for the future because, if they can probably sell to many other companies, and we can end up with a lot of really cool 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons games. Now, I know I've kind of been talking about other games, and we should be talking about Solasta. So let's go into the options menu here and just have a quick look. Nothing groundbreaking here. Audio settings, we got different graphic settings here. Shadow quality, distance, texture quality, all that kind of stuff. You're typically used to seeing. Cloth simulation quality, not exactly sure. Characters' clothes, that's pretty neat on important characters, I guess. And actually also something very, very worth noting that I probably should have let off with is that this game is in early access, okay? So it's in early access, and it has approximately about 10 hours of content according to the developers, and you can get it on Steam right now for full price is $44.99, and it's on sale for 15% off right now. That's Canadian dollars for me. So that's something we're going to talk about, because I think the price point is, something that we're going to want to discuss here. But we'll finish up the settings here. So just basic stuff. Now, as far as game settings go, cool things. Reaction timer is kind of a neat idea if you want to, be a little more strict on yourself to react quickly. Not needed, though. For D&D, it's turn-based. You can take your time, so I'm not putting that on. Grouped monster initiative is a neat option to have because a lot of D&D people like to play the game that way, so it's nice that they have the option. Requiring long rest to prepare spells. That's a good D&D rule. And this game really follows the 5th edition rules incredibly well. And in fact, I might even say a little more than Baldur's Gate 3 does. You can change up the dice. It's not a big deal, but, you can have red dice for fire damage. This is kind of like a icy color, I suppose, but you can change up the color so that things kind of make more sense. But we're just leaving them as is. A couple GUI settings, you can change your right click and confine your mouse cursor, stuff like that. And then, of course, you can rebind all of your hotkeys here if you desire. So I've got a game that's currently in progress that I'm going to show you, but before we even do that, I'd like to show you creating a new character. So that you can get an idea. Because if you're into D&D, then you probably want to know, how does the character creation go? This specific build of the game gives you access to a bunch of already created characters, and then some of these characters I've created. So I created Moracle, Rowan, Bjorn, and Baron, just for my own little playthrough. And then there's some that the game gives you right off the bat. So we're going to do this quickly, because you could spend a lot of time in character creation, but I want to just kind of show you the options, and then we'll jump into the actual game. So you got these races. You got Dwarf, Half-Elf, Human, High Elf, and Halfling. Obviously, not all the races are available. There's no Dragonborn. There's no Tiefling. Gnome. No Gnome. So that is one kind of... I don't want to say disappointing, because I don't know exactly what this developer studio has to work with in terms of resources and stuff like that. But, I'm not going to complain too much, because I'm happy enough to get a 5th edition game. I don't want to knock the company too bad for not having every single race available or every single class available, because that's also something we're going to have to talk about. One thing they did was they took a little bit of liberties to change the actual name of some of these races, but to the best of my best of my knowledge, they have the very same... whatever you would call these race features. Okay, so extra dex and crossbow expertise and stuff. I believe that this is a Sylvan elf, and I think in 5th edition it's a wood elf, but they have similar, I would think almost the exact same stat differences here, but you can fact check me on that. I actually have my player's handbook right here, but I'm not actually going to open it up and flip through it while recording the video. But we've got different types of halflings, elves and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and let's make a... I'm always a fan of the hill dwarf, the extra wisdom. So let's make a hill dwarf. Oh, sorry, you also have male, female, which does not change the stats. You can... it doesn't matter if they're male or female. Their racials and class features will all stay the same. And we have these 6 classes. So Cleric, Fighter, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, and Wizard. The difference between this game and Baldur's Gate 3 is Baldur's Gate 3 has the Warlock available instead of the Paladin. But I think the rest of the classes are actually the same. Also worth noting, I believe that the studio mentioned, and I only saw this in an internet comment, so it's true, but I believe they said that they have plans on releasing the Sorcerer in the future, so that's probably something that's coming. And then, the hope is that this game sells a ton of copies and the studio gets, a lot more money and some profits, so they can move on to make another Dungeons & Dragons game that's going to have more of the classes in it, or maybe they can even, incorporate more of the classes in this game. Who knows? But, the ultimate goal would be to have all the races and all the classes available in one kind of computer game, right? That's kind of what I would love to see, but for now, we got these 6 classes. No barbarian, which is a little sad. No monk. A couple other classes that are obviously missing here. That'd be nice to see. Druid. Classic D&D classes that we're missing here. But also a lot of the classic ones are right here. I mean, the classic D&D party is the Fighter, Cleric, Rogue, and Wizard, right? So you can at least do that and throw in a Ranger or Paladin if you so choose. So let's go ahead and make them a Fighter, because we're boring. Dwarf, Fighter. And you can see the UI in this game, and the interface is very, very clean and very easy to navigate and easy to find all of your information that you're interested in. Even if you're not a D&D player, you can, learn about your classes by just looking here, and you can even check, in the future to see what kind of things you're going to be building towards. Now, this says level 8. To my understanding, I think the game will only take you to about level 6 right now, and I read that in the description of the store page. So, this might be... You might not be getting to level 8 with this current build of the game, but it still shows you different things that you can work towards, so pretty cool. And then once the game is out of early access, hopefully they have a campaign that takes you right to as close to max level as possible. That would be really cool. So yeah, we're going to get into this here. We have different martial once you hit level 3. And again, I think these names are different than from the actual game, but as far as what they give you, it's similar. Although I'll admit, Tunnel Fighter seems sort of out of the blue here for me. So maybe they've taken some more liberties here in changing up some of the subclasses. I know Champion for sure comes from the book, though. So, you know, D&D absolute experts will be able to tell the differences here. Otherwise, you know, they have some of the exact stuff from the book, and they may have taken some liberties for some other things and just made it a little bit their own. So let's go ahead to Fighter. We also have the background, which is very important for D&D 5th edition. It gives you access to specific skills so that you don't have to use your skill slots on them. And also they give you certain personality flags, which I think is new to this game. You don't do this type of thing in actual pen and paper D&D. They do it a little bit differently. But I believe what these do is they give your character certain dialogue options, which is pretty cool. And maybe some other things too that I haven't noticed yet. But just to get through this here, we're going to be a sellsword fighter. We're going to focus on violence and authority. And then we're going to take lawfulness and kindness. Okay, whatever. Chaotic good. Let's go with that. So we got the alignment thing here. We have a little bit of a background for our character. It gives us proficiency in athletics and intimidation, medium armor, which we already have anyway because we're a fighter, and then we get 1 additional language. Plus, we get to start off with 10 gold pieces and some of this stuff here. Kind of neat. What am I missing? Oh, cynicism and... Wait, what happened here? Oh, that's interesting. So I didn't even know that. When I change my... alignment, it changes my personality flags here as well. So that's cool. So chaotic good, then cynicism and kindness. There you go. I didn't know that. Now we get to actually put our character together. So it gives you options to roll dice, which we had an 18 there, by the way, which I shouldn't have rolled away. But you can roll, like these are sick rolls. That's a bad one though. And you can do that if you want to be like very pure with your character creation. You can do standard array, which is just 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8, and just put them wherever you want. And you can also do point buy, which is the official way that I think most people play the game. And you can just kind of create your character with the point buy system, which I do like. And then free edit, I think, just lets you, yeah, you can just put whatever you want. So you can cheat and max them all out if you want, but nobody likes to do that. So let's create a quick fighter here with, okay, that's the max I can put in there. So just a bunch of con, strength, a little bit of dex. We don't want penalties on dex. You know, we're not going to care too much about this. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of a benefit, and that's good enough for our fighter. But you can sit here and spend as much time on this stuff if you want, or as you want. Plus, we get to choose a fighting style here, and usually, well, I usually like to go with defense and getting a shield and stuff like that. Looks like he's starting with a shield. Protection is specifically when you're adjacent to a party member. You can impose disadvantage on your enemy. But defense just gives you +1 bonus to armor class, which is just really nice out of the gate here. So I'm going to take that. Now we get our skills. Again, as far as I can tell, it's almost identical to the skills that you're going to be getting from real 5th edition D&D here. And if I'm wrong about any of that, I apologize. I consider myself pretty well versed in D&D, but at the same time, there's going to be people that know it more than me. So I might be a little wrong here, but still, it's looking very similar to the real game. So we get 2 class skills. Let's take perception and we already have intimidation from our background. So survival, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then we get languages. So we already know Dwarvish and Common. Let's take Goblin because that's our natural enemy. So there we go. Next, now for probably something that would be classified as a negative. As far as like the actual characters go, they're not awful, right? But it's definitely not one of the strengths of the game. The actual graphics of the character models are not absolutely fantastic, and if you're comparing to BG3, which is not unfair to do since we got 2 5th edition D&D games that are coming out at a similar time, the graphics for Baldur's Gate are going to blow this game out of the water, but they're coming out of Larian Studios, which is an established company. So I don't fault them too much. And for me personally, Znork. Okay, we're going with that. Znork Stronghammer, perfect fighter name. Personally, the actual visual graphics are not the most important to me when we're talking about a Dungeons and Dragons game. The voice acting is also, in my opinion, and I don't want to sound offensive here, but it's not the selling point. But you can look at it in a specific way. When you're playing D&D with your friends, most of your friends are not professional voice actors, so you can look at it as though, you know, it's a little bit campy, but it's charming in a way. Also, you might just hate it, and that's totally fair as well. But anyway, there's our fighter. We got Znork Stronghammer. Perfect name. Stats are all here, so let's go ahead and finish. Now, we're not even going to use this guy in combat, but I just wanted to show you guys that's the typical way that you would create a character. You can create yourself 4 characters, because the party size is 4 characters large. Which is also different from most other D&D games. Usually they let you go up to 6, but 4 is a little bit of the more standard D&D party size. So finally, once we're done with character creation, we're going to jump into an actual game. But real quick here, if we were to start a new adventure, we can see right now we can change the campaign, and there's only one available. This, as far as I am aware, Crown of the Magister is like a homebrew campaign created by the developers. Just an aside here, one thing that I would absolutely just go apeshit for is if we were able to use this game's system, which we're going to get into once we actually get playing, to be able to incorporate some official D&D titles. You know, Lost Mines of Phandelver, Hoard of the Dragon Queen, like the Curse of Strahd, which might be a little bit ambitious, but still, I think once we get in here and we look at things, it would be not impossible to incorporate some of those official D&D adventures into this game. Because, first of all, you can clearly load up a campaign here. They might have, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they might have the ability to create your own campaigns in the game in the future, potentially, who knows. And then you can load them maybe from Steam Workshop. But having official D&D campaigns to be able to choose from is literally like one of the only things I want in this world, okay? But anyway, we're not going to start a new game. We're going to load up because I'm actually in a... I'm at a pretty good spot to show you guys here from my first game. Finally, after 17 minutes, we're going to get a look at some actual gameplay. So I apologize it took so long, but for D&D fans, you probably want to know how the character creator works. So I'm glad I was able to at least show you that. So we're picking things off after a few hours into the game. My characters are all level 2. All created characters. I didn't start with any of the main guys. We just finished our first official mission in this location, and now we're heading back to town in order to show, or to like turn in our quest, basically. So I wanted to show you guys this sort of overworld map, which first of all looks beautiful. This is a homebrew world created by the developers here with some pretty nifty names: Care, Kiflin, Duchy of Western Fields, all this stuff, you know, and there's a bunch of unexplored areas over here. But it's a pretty nice looking map, and it's got this interesting system when you're traveling through the overworld. So we select where we want to go, and we click travel. It tells us it's going to take us 3 days, 2 long rests, and we can either quicken our pace or slow down our pace to essentially increase our chances of running into a battle, or I think maybe we would get surprised if a battle procced while we were moving, if we were moving fast, and this way we might be able to surprise our enemies, but it would take longer and more food rations and stuff to get there. So we're just going to stick with normal. You also have some travel settings, so you can interrupt travel when a character can level up, or after they finished a long rest. I think this is the only one that we really need, so let's go ahead and be done with that and start traveling. You can see the travel journal here. Our wizard gained us some extra food rations. We're now, by the way, resting overnight, so our movement has stopped. Our fatigue is refreshing. And now that we're moving, our fatigue is going up again. Time is passing. We're doing all sorts of interesting things on the side here. Collecting crafting ingredients, or it looks like our wizard is really focusing on getting us food, which is interesting. The ranger has not done much of that, which she should have been. And now we're in town. So the town is another aspect of this game that I think it's hard to be critical. Well, it's not hard to be critical. I'm trying to be critical. I think the town it's got some really good aspects, and I don't really know how to improve some of the aspects that I don't really like. But let's just get into here, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So I think just the general thing is that the town itself just looks a little gray and a little bland, okay? But as far as the actual control system goes, you use WASD to move the camera around, which I love. This is a kind of a more modern thing that RPG games are doing that just makes navigating the camera so easy to just kind of move around and look for people to talk to and stuff like that and navigate. But clicking around, it's very clean. The way that the characters move together, it's very easy to keep the party together, which is something that I would complain a little bit about with the Larian Studios games. And the map here is actually gorgeous. I've never really seen a map made this way, but I really like it. It's got a really nice aesthetic, and it's easy to look around and find the NPCs that you might be looking for. And it tells you specifically which ones have the quest. So we have to turn in our quest here. And you can see, you know, Market Street. And if you mouse over, hold on. I thought it was possible that you can, okay, well, you can fast travel. I thought you can see, like, which ones were the actual shops, but looks like that is not the case. But you can come over to Market Street, and then you can see this is a general store. This is a magic store, stuff like that, you know. I want to show you guys a little bit of the actual cutscene. So there will technically be some very minor spoilers here because we did already finish the first mission. And I'm going to skip through most of it, but I want to show you guys a little bit of what you're going to get when we're talking about, like, actual role-playing and actual, you know, cutscenes and stuff like that.
Oh, here you are. How was the mission?
We must report to the council immediately.
Of course. I'll inform the council that you've returned.
When can we hope for an audience?
It depends. Tomorrow, if you're lucky. Another party came back yesterday, and they still have to make their report. So maybe they'll see you both at once.
We have urgent news. The outpost at KLM has been attacked. Almost all of the garrison was killed.
By all the gods! Meet me in the council chamber. I'll inform my superiors.
So in that cutscene, we had only one of our party members talking, but
The Legacy Council
usually they all have something to say,
Captain
which is
Merrin
pretty
has
cool.
the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Royal Highness, my party and I have made a very worrying discovery. Near the place we call Black, we saw a group that we took. They attacked us right, but we were able. They were trying to get.
What is it?
This box contained. We have determined, and we believe the council.
So we will, Captain. Is that all?
So I'm skipping through now because it's actually kind of a long cutscene, but and I think I can actually skip it this way. And just, you know what, maybe I will do that because I don't want, you know, anyone to be worried about spoilers. Even though I think that, you know, the spoilers here are not necessarily that big of a deal. I'm only a couple hours in, but still, we're gonna skip the cutscene. But you can already kind of get the idea of what you're getting with NPC dialogue and how the voice acting is and how the graphics are and the cinematography and stuff like that, right? It's not like S tier, and I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win out in this regard as far as creating epic cutscenes and really good graphics and stuff like that, okay? I think that's pretty clear. However, I think...
True! They're real!
What? And who?
I said skip. Okay, we're going to say they attacked.
They attacked the KLM outpost. KLM? What do you mean?
I don't know if it's... Okay, there we go. So it's finally letting me skip. And we're going to skip this one too. This
We have
one.
to stand by.
I'm sure she... Anyway, some people working...
But you can see you get some different character options or dialogue options on your based on your characters and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Okay, it's not awful. It's not gonna blow you out of the water here. It's not absolutely S tier, but it's good enough to get the quests done. It's good enough for some NPC dialogue, and it's not really that bad, right? Like, I feel like I'm maybe being a little actually too harsh on it, but there's definitely room for improvement in that aspect if they want. But the thing that I care about the most is actually the gameplay mechanics and how the game feels like a D&D game. It really makes you feel like you're playing a D&D game. So, memes aside, I think technically it would be better for me to pick up this side quest, which I believe is right over here. But I'm not going to do that. For the sake of this video, we're just going to jump into the actual quest. So if you're looking to navigate places, you can just find where you want to navigate on the map, click there, and then click your characters, and they will just run. And then you have the option to look around for them, look around the map for NPCs if you want. And yeah, like, the town is not that bad, right? It's just maybe a little bit bland. The music is not really gonna draw you in. So if you're spending a lot of time in town, which when you're playing the game thoroughly and you're going to the store to sell your loot and you're talking to the NPCs and picking up your side quests and stuff like that, you end up kind of moving around this town for quite a while, and you start to notice that maybe the town feels a little boring. But, you know, again, as far as like serving your mechanics to give you a shop to sell your stuff at and some NPCs to get some quests from, it does that fine. But I can already imagine, like, you know, for Lost Mines of Phandelver, this city can just be Phandalin, and we can have the inn, and we can have the, you know, the, I think it's like the, I might be getting my D&D campaigns mixed up, but there's, you know, we can have all the specific buildings from Phandalin in there and the NPCs in there, and they can give us quests to go around the map, and this could be the actual map of Faerun, and we can go over here to battle the orcs on the hill, or we can go over here to look for the Kragmaw fortress or whatever. And, you know, we might be able to click in different directions to travel. I can just see it. And with the infrastructure that this company has made for Dungeons & Dragons, I as far as my limited experience of 3 or 4 hours in this world, or in this system is, or engine, I guess you can say, I can't really see why you can't, you know, have the official D&D adventures in here. Especially once we finally get to some combat. So we're not actually going there. Oh my god, hold on. Oh, you know what? Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. I made a mistake. I need to go pick up that quest, because that's the quest I require to make the other location pop up on the map, isn't it? So that's my fault. This video is already 26 minutes long, which is probably longer than I meant to go with it, but so be it. So be it. Let's click in here. So we'll find our quest, right? You just press M, move around the map with WASD, look for your quest, click here. Click here. Why is it not clicking? There we go. And then click your characters here. You can even click on him, and they'll just talk as soon as they get here. I'm going to skip this dialogue because I didn't realize I was going to have to do this to go out for my quest, but I suppose it makes total sense because he's got a quest, and that's what I'm doing. Quite a big town, so it can take some time to walk across. Alright, we're gonna just pick this up. This is an NPC we met earlier. There we go. Okay, we got the quest. Now we have to run all the way back to the exit. And we'll run out. But then we'll be able to travel to our quest destination, and we're not even gonna go and complete this quest. Which, by the way, some of my characters are encumbered. Again, in my test run of this, you can take your time. You can go to the shop and you can sell your shit so you're not encumbered. I am not really caring about that for the purposes of this video. And to demonstrate, I'm not even going to save it. So I'm going to drop, actually, some of these rations. These rations tend to be pretty heavy. Are you still encumbered? Just drop all the rations. There you go. It's fine. Like I said, I'm not saving this anyway, so... There you go. No longer... I guess I have to leave the zone and then come back in. There we go. No longer encumbered, just in case that actually hinders us in battle. So there. We have the new possible Sorak base that we can go and click on to explore. So we're going to click that. We're going to travel. We're going to do some more overland travel. It's going to take 4 days and 4 long rests. And what I'm banking on is we're going to hit a random encounter. Okay, here we go. Eagle Nest. A group of hostile creatures has managed to surprise you. So we're actually going to start this battle surprised, which is a little shitty. But we'll get to show the surprise mechanic, I guess. And after this battle, the video will be over. But it's going to allow me to show you the combat. So everybody rolls initiative with a nifty little die roll. And again, in Baldur's Gate 3, they do this a little bit. But I think this game does it even more, which I actually really love, is showing the dice rolls. So everybody's getting surprised, but when the eagles attack us, we can see their little dice rolls and what they're rolling once we're finally done with combat here. Or done with the enemy's combat. So we've got ourselves surrounded here, but that's fine. So Baran, he is our wizard, and luckily he's not within attack of opportunity range. Also, here's a look at one of the big differences between this game and BG3. This game uses a grid-based system, which is going to immediately have an advantage in my opinion, because I way prefer the grid-based system over what Larian Studios does with its kind of 3D. You know, they have like a movement system not based on squares, but based on like distance and meters and stuff like that. I really like the grid-based system, and I think the interface here is very clean. You can very easily see the turn order. I do wish it was a little more easy to see who's the active character, but from what I can understand, the active character's name ends up a little bit lower, so you can kind of follow along. I think it might be a little better if, like, let's say, since it's Baron's turn, he would be right here, and then after his turn is done, he rotates to the back end. But, you know what, doesn't matter all that much. You can get used to it over time. So since he's our wizard, we're going to use one movement action to move him out of combat a little bit. And we can have a look at the spells. He has cantrips, which are over here. They're considered infinite. No. This is a high elf spell, which is considered infinite. Then we have our cantrips, which are infinite casts. So we do have a little bit of damage that we can do all the time. And we have our level 1 spells. In some cases, you can cast a spell at a higher level. And if you can, it's indicated by a little bit of a plus symbol here that you click on, and you add the level to it to empower it, which is very cool, very clean. Unfortunately, I can't show you that right now because I have no characters that can actually do it, but I've seen it, and it is very clean, so trust me on that. You can mouse over the spells to see what they do, and hold Alt to get even more information. Okay? So that is pretty cool. For the most part, it's pretty damn good. Also, Magic Missile looks dope. So let's go ahead and we're going to dump 3 of them into this guy and 1 of them into this guy, because I think 3 is all we really need. And all you have to do, because Magic Missile has 4 bolts, you just pick your targets. So I put 3 onto him, I just clicked him 3 times, and now the other one's just going to go to here, and he'll cast it. And it looks very cool. We killed one. Very nice. Notice we don't get the experience yet for killing the eagle. You get it all at the end of combat, which is very similar to how real D&D works, which is just another thing that I think is really cool. We won't use any more movement. We'll just end our turn here. Now we have our cleric, who has different types of spells, right? So we've got his cantrips as well, as indicated by the infinite symbol here. We can do light, sacred flame, and spare the dying. And again, holding Alt gives you more details about them. And then our level 1 spells: Guiding Bolt, Inflict Wounds, Bane, Bless, and Cure Wounds. Bless is one of my favorite spells for a cleric, so I'm going to go ahead and bless our party, even though it's probably not necessary. We can choose 3 targets to bless, which I think is a little different between how the real spell works in the game, but I can't remember. Either way, our guys that are getting hit by melee attacks are going to be worth blessing, so let's do it. So now everybody's blessed, and let's just put him a little bit more in melee range here and end his turn. We have Rowan, who's the ranger. She is going to move back here. She's using a longbow. And she's got some ranger spells. She has Good Berry for some more food, which is pretty cool. And she also has Hunter's Mark, which I think she can only cast after an attack. So let's go ahead and attack this eagle. Plus 11 on her attack, by the way. I think she got plus 11 because she has bonuses against beasts. And she was able to kill that eagle pretty quickly, and then she can cast Hunter's Mark as a bonus on this, which will give her an even more advantage to hit. And then we can end her turn. And now we have our Paladin, who has some other things we can look at. So as far as Paladin spells, they're here. Heroism, Bless, Cure Wounds, Detect Evil and Good. Also has powers: Divine Sense, Lay on Hands, Neutralize Poison, and Cure Disease. Just really cool stuff, you know. It's split up so nicely between spells and powers. And if you have a fighter who's got like Action Surge, that's going to be under power, but the spells are under spells, which I guess makes sense. But I just really like the interface. You can see the movement very clearly here, how many steps he can take, what's his armor class, what's his hit points. You can go to the inventory. It's just really, really good. You know, as far as the interface goes, now this battle is actually going to be a little bit too easy, and I'm kind of in my test run I got a more difficult battle against bandits who were actually able to tank some hits, and the combat was a little bit more tactical. But regardless, we got some eagles here that we can very easily kill, and it's still going to get the point across. As far as my paladin goes, I don't think I need to cast any spells. but if I did, they would be there. Instead, I'm just going to attack the eagle. Nifty little dice roll, and because we landed a hit, the Paladin features Divine Smite. I know I'm probably not going to kill it in one hit. You don't get to know how much damage you do, though, and that's true for real D&D. With Divine Smite, you roll to see if you hit. Once you know you hit, you decide if you want to use Divine Smite or not. So this is going to pop up every time, but that's how D&D works, and it's helpful so that you don't forget about your skill. So we're going to smite it, which will add, I think it's like 2d8 damage, which is insane, and it's probably going to murder this eagle in one shot here.
A good kill, as they say.
And now it's over. We get our experience. It was a pretty easy battle. We only got 18 experience. We can now finish our long rest here. We also, hold on, let's loot the eagles, so they have rations on them somehow, but that's cool. We can take the rations. I found that you get so many rations in this game that you never run out, at least in the very early game, but that is pretty cool. We can do a long rest now, or resume camping, which will finish our long rest and move us out, and we'll continue traveling. And I didn't get to show you absolutely everything about the game, but this is the first impressions video that went on way longer than expected. 36 minutes is too long. I apologize. I'll try to make things more condensed in the future, but regardless, I think this game, Solasta, Crown of the Magister, is a dark horse for best Dungeons & Dragons game out there. That's what I'm saying right now. It is still in early access. There's a lot of things that are subject to change. I highly doubt they're going to make the game worse, but I suppose that's a possibility, so just keep that in mind. But, you know, the thing I'm most excited about is that they've got this system now that, at least in my opinion, can be the, what's the word? Like, you can use this system for any Dungeons & Dragons campaign you want. You can plug in your own, and again, I don't know that you can actually do this, but what I'm saying is that the actual engine is ready to receive whatever Dungeons & Dragons campaign anyone would want to put in it. Any homebrew campaign, you know, it fits within the framework and the engine created by the developers here, and any official campaign, I can't see why you can't just plug it in if Wizards of the Coast would let them do it, right? Or if they even want to do it. I don't know if that's what they want, but that's just something that I've been hoping for. You know, I'd love to play Lost Mines of Phandelver as a computer game, or Hoard of the Dragon Queen, or whatever, any of these other official ones. So regardless, it's a long-winded video. I apologize for that, but I think I was able to show you guys everything that I like about this game, and, you know, a couple nitpicks here and there, but I'm not going to hold it too much against them. The final thing we're going to talk about is the price point, which I think is the only thing that is going to keep people back right now. With a price point of $44, not on sale. Again, it is 15% off right now. I don't know how long that's going to be for, but the price point for an early access game is pretty steep. Okay, I don't think your average gamer is going to feel excited about spending $44 to get into a 10-hour early access Dungeons & Dragons game unless they're D&D enthusiasts, which I am, which is why I did it. So that's one thing, and even, you know, when the game fully comes out, because it's not really an established company, it's hard to say that that a lot of people are going to flock to it. But the reviews are very positive right now, and my review is incredibly positive. So, you know, that might be enough to get some people interested. Really hope that this company does well and is able to thrive and expand on this game, get all those other classes in here, get all those other races in here, and, you know, really have like some epic adventures as well. So there you have it. That's my first impressions of Solasta, Crown of the Magister. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, leave comments below on how I can improve on this type of video. I don't do it very often, but I want to do it more. Yeah, if you like the video, leave a like on it to let me know, and we'll make some more of these videos. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time.